Northside Women. Back we are. I'm here with Libby. I'm here with Eren Coleman. Coleman.
Yes.
Coleman.
Oh my goodness. E-R-E-N.
Did you panic as soon as you said it?
I did.
right.
Immediately.
Coleman. That's right.
I was like, well, I'm just saying it with confidence. Hopefully that's right. We are working our way through our staff women interviews. So thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. We, Gracie started a segment, The Spill.
I really want to call it the sip, but it's spill. We can't go back now. It's the spill. It's a spill.
I don't know that our followers are going to be that. I don't think they're going to be
Aware.
like, how dare you call it
changed the
something
name.
different. I don't think
Was
that-
there an
I
actual
don't be that
spill is
committed.
the question.
Yeah, hopefully there's no spills. But
Unless you have something to spill, Aaron.
Right.
Oh, it's a different kind of
See,
spill.
I think the spill the tea kind of segment. Well, normally we would be recording this, kind of early in the morning and maybe have a coffee or something, but it's midday,
almost
so
lunchtime.
we got Sonic instead.
Yeah.
So can you tell us, each of you, what's in your Sonic cup? What's your Sonic order drink?
Mine is a cherry limeade.
Classic.
Not a light, no, it's the full sugar content, but it's so refreshing. I love it.
Perfect for the summer.
Yeah.
It's a
Joan's
classic.
favorite drink is
Yes.
a cherry limeade. From
Yeah,
Sonic.
It's hard to beat.
Yeah, and then you have to dig out the cherry, of course.
Yeah,
I don't know if you do
Or
that.
if like you
I
don't get a
do.
cherry, then you're disappointed.
That's
the worst.
that's the dessert at the bottom, the little cherry.
That's what you're really, that's what it's all about. What's in your cup, Libby?
I do a cranberry Sprite.
Yeah,
I couldn't really tell you why I do that, except I tried it once.
I was gonna say,
and
when
I
did
love-
that start?
I don't know.
Because you told me that, and then I tried it, and I liked it.
Yeah, it's just yummy. It's refreshing.
That's
Another
refreshing.
drink.
Yes.
And I love
have to try that.
cranberry, and Sprite just gives it a little bubbly.
I was gonna say, I feel like the cranberry is a little more tart and not too sweet, which is a nice balance. I got the Twisted Flamingo, which was a poor choice. I just chose one. I wanted to try something new.
It's a great name.
It's a great name. Normally, I get a cranberry Sprite now, or I'm a classic cherry limeade, but it will
Lock
put you
your
in
jaw.
the ground sweet.
So
It
my
is
dad always says.
shut lock your jaw. Yeah, it will melt your face off. It's that sweet. So if you're looking for a dessert, we found it.
There you go. Twisted Flamingo. Here's a fun fact.
that's our
When
segment.
Harlow was like 3, she called flamingos flamingos. We took her to the zoo, and she was like, look at the flamingos. And we were like, yeah, that's
I feel like
sticking.
that's even harder to
call it
say,
that.
which is actually really impressive.
I just love how
Flamingo.
kids they interpret it, and it
I
just
know.
goes from here to
So
here, and it's
true.
so wrong. My youngest son,
Confident.
he watched Scooby Doo, and he called it Skinny Boo. He couldn't pronounce it
Cute.
Skinny Boo. So, yeah,
Yeah, we've merged Scooby-Doo and Snoopy. So Snoopy is Snoopy-Doo.
Snoopy Doo. I
Always
love it.
Snoopy-Doo.
I love how you have those little things in your
I know.
house where you're just like,
Yeah.
this isn't a real word, but it is to
We're
our
using
family.
it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well, you want to jump in? I did that segment flawlessly, so
Yeah.
I feel great about that.
Yes, so welcome. Welcome to the podcast.
Absolutely.
We're continuing our interviews, and today we're interviewing Eren Coleman. We'll start, actually, I guess we'll get into it. We could just do the questions, but at some point give us who you are, what you do on staff. You can either start
Yeah,
with that, or you could do that when you tell us about your history attending Northside.
Okay.
Whichever one.
Well, I'll start. So Eren Coleman, and you had a hard time maybe not remembering my last name. It took me a while to remember my new last name.
Yeah.
So, and I've signed so many documents with my old last name. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
something to
Tough, I would
It
imagine.
is,
And tell us how old you are.
I am 59. I will be 60 in August. So
You're
the big
also in August, baby.
last day of August.
So
Yeah.
is Joni.
Okay. And I turn a decade this August too. We're like right in sync.
You're going to be 50?
Ma'am, I'll be 40.
You're adding a
50,
decade.
I
yeah.
wish. I mean,
You're going to be
listen,
40?
40.
Sorry, where did I get 50 from? Aaron just turned 50.
She said,
Aaron.
Aaron Pardue.
Aaron.
The other Aaron.
goodness. Can we
Aaron
just...
is Aaron's
This
assistant.
is how many
Yeah.
Jims and Aarons
We
and
literally have
Andys
to
and
say-
Andrews.
Eren.
And Aaron.
And Aaron.
Y'all can't find any people with different names to
Sorry,
hire.
I just aged you a decade, baby. So 40 and 60. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
August
you know,
babies.
and I just look
August
at it
babies.
as it's a, you know, how you think about yourself and not the number. But
Totally. Agree.
there are days, though, you feel 60. So,
You don't look 60.
I totally
I try
agree.
not to act 60. You know, I'm immature for my age. I think.
There you go.
You fit right in here.
I honestly, I don't know if this is true for y'all, but as I get older, like I stop recognizing how old everyone is.
It doesn't really
Oh.
matter. I don't think.
Anyone, high school, college, they're all just babies to me.
Yeah.
Like I can't necessarily recognize, like, are you in high school or college?
Yeah.
I don't
It
know.
kind of all floods together
It
after
does
a
flood
while.
together
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So I am a ministry assistant to Aaron Purdue, who is the adult discipleship pastor. What do I do?
The most recent bald guy we've hired.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
We have
Lots of
triplets
bald
there.
guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, Aaron.
So yeah. So you know, I know he's establishing what that means and writing a lot of things to help disciple our people and multiply that. And so I'm just trying to help support that. Do a lot of other things, deacon stuff and baptism stuff, and you know whatever they need.
Yeah. You answered the phone when I called this
I
morning.
answered the phone too. I do that too. So yeah, you'll see me sometimes on Fridays or every Friday. I'm out at the front desk.
Not in the summers, though.
Not during the summers. We're closed next
Closed on Friday.
Friday until August, whatever the date is. So
Yay.
yes,
You'll get
nice
Fridays off. For a while. That's nice.
It is. I'll do all my
Did both
projects.
of you do the pickleball excursion last week?
I did. I was sick.
Neither
Joe
of you.
I
was
didn't
sick.
go.
Yeah.
Neither of them. I don't even know why I brought that up.
Sorry.
Just cut
last
that
year
out.
we did it. I
yeah.
was there last year. Were you there last
I
year?
was there last year.
Yeah.
I could easily become addicted to that. I think when I retire someday,
that was
that'll
so
be
fun.
I'll be one of those old guys, old person out there doing pickleball 5 days a
Sure.
week.
Why not?
Yeah, it's fun.
Got to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to spend your time somehow. It's fun, active.
Being active. Don't sit still.
The pickleball is fun, though.
Yeah. It's very popular.
Anybody can do it.
That's what they say.
Most anybody.
Okay, so tell us your history, which I guess you just kind of did, but you could tell us a little bit of your history attending Northside.
Like your
Attending
history
North-
here at Northside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So attendance wise, so when I first started working here, I wasn't attending here, but Gary and I have been. So my history with Gary is that we were married in 2023. So then we wanted to find our own place together, and so we tried everything surrounding Northside, and then we come to Northside, and so we're not members yet, but I'm just letting that unfold as it will, you know. And so we've been attending probably in the last 7 months or so. So we've been attending Maranatha class. So yeah, it's been a great experience and great service. And I love Northside because from the day I walked in, I have felt welcome, and people greet you and just they're sincere about wanting to know who you are. And and the invitation to Maranatha class, I'm going to give them a kudos, a shout out. Sid Riley came right to my desk and said, I invited us both to Maranatha. And so, yeah,
I love that.
we feel very welcome here and want to be a part of it here.
Good. Love that.
I do too.
I love hearing those stories.
It is. It's good.
So tell us how you came to be in a relationship with God.
We're going
It's a really
straight to the deep end.
That's a big question.
Diving in
recognize.
deep.
Yes.
So I did not grow up going to church. My that was not a fostered thing. I think my mom had a bad experience, and so for her, you know, she just said, you know, you figure it out when you're an adult. So, but when we moved to Chicago, outside of Chicago, when I was in first grade, and we were staying in a hotel, and you got 5 kids and 2 adults, and they put us in one of those big suites because we were going crazy running up and down the hallways, not having anything to do for weeks until our house was ready. And so, you open the drawer, and what's in the drawer? It used to be a Bible was in the drawer.
Yeah.
And so this is really my first recollection of
That's crazy.
Bible, God, who is it? Who is that? And so I opened it up and I read till Genesis 5, and then I got to Genesis 5, and it's who begot who begot who. But I'm like, that was first grade. I closed that up really quick.
The fact that you got to Genesis 5 in first grade.
It probably
Very
took me a while to
impressive.
get there, being first grade.
Wow.
But then I do remember asking my stepdad or telling him what I did, and he said, "Oh, that's good," and then that was it. So I didn't, I just didn't have the experience that I think I needed and wanted. I did have some friends that were Catholic, and I never went to Mass with them or anything. But so, it was there, but I didn't have a relationship. I didn't know what that meant. And really, my relationship with God did not happen until I had children, until I had kids, and wanted to teach, and I took them to preschool, and it was a Methodist church, and so I got to hear all the stories that the kids do.
Wow.
And it's kind of strange when you don't have that experience growing up, the parables that help explain it and make it understandable, and as an adult, I finally got to hear them. For those that don't get to hear it, it's kind of confusing without all that. So, but truly, my real experience with God, I was 36 when I was saved, but then I didn't have, then what do I do? I felt very lost for a long, long time, and no discipleship at all. So I'd read here and read there, and I'm like, I couldn't get it all meshing together. So that's like 20 years of just floundering and figuring it out. But really, I think the most truest form of knowing God to me was learning about forgiveness. And there was a whole traumatic story with that, but that's when he taught me how to forgive myself, forgive others, and then so much came from that. Quit judging, quit gossiping. All those things came from that, and it just took that one thing, and yeah.
Cool.
Sometimes we have those experiences that, God
Change everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does.
It really shifts perspective, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
And now you work for a discipleship pastor.
Yeah,
I know.
full
Those
circle.
years of sort of
Cool.
seeking, like, what does sanctification look like? What is the next step? How to put that together? And now, whether you want it or not, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Not whether you want it or not. They can cut that part out. So many things to cut out today.
No. Okay. So our next question, I want to make sure that our questions align.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
with
do.
what you've prepared.
Yeah,
for.
like I was just thinking, I hope these are aligned. So that's kind of your story of coming to know him. And like she said, now you work for a discipleship pastor. So we like to also ask what God has been teaching you lately, just because we don't believe coming to know him is it. Like it's a journey of sanctification.
Constant.
So we love to hear what's he recently been teaching you.
I think this kind of also correlates with new marriage, and a marriage that is a more godly marriage. So I'm kind of learning what submission is on that part, or, that's a hard word for some women, but it is just giving myself in faith that, God has everything, and he's planned out everything, and I don't have to plan out everything, thank you. But submitting also to my husband, and that's for someone who is independent and kind of headstrong. Can I say that? There's
you
other
can say
words
that.
for that, but you know, and not having to control everything. That is, I'm learning a lot about that, and to wait and just, you know, listen to my husband more, listen to God more, you know, first, and wait, and it's okay to wait. And I'm a doer, and that's another hard thing. I want to go do, and to wait is difficult for me. So he's teaching me and molding me and refining that. And yeah.
It's good.
That is good. Like all of us, if we let him, you know, let him refine us,
Yeah.
let him sanctify us.
And that's a day-to-day challenge, because some days I'm good at that and some days I'm not.
Sure.
Amen.
Again, all of us.
Yes.
Woo.
Yeah.
Some days are easier than others.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Oh, what's a really, like one really good piece of advice that you've been given?
The one comes to mind is my mom talked about family and friends, and she said, you know, you're going to find that, and this was when I was young, like teenage, I just remember teenager. She said, you know, because we moved a lot, we moved like every 2 years with my stepdad's job, and then I moved even as an adult. I found that, you know, friends will come and go in your life. You know, if you're physically moving geographically, that's going to happen, but family is forever. So this is the caveat to that is I don't have any family that lives close in Weatherford. So my kids live different places. My siblings live all over the place. So I don't have any family close. So that's kind of redefining what family means. And so I think it's important finding a family here close to me, and that would be my church. And not just church, but my neighbors too. I have become much, you know, learning who they are. We're all very different in my neighborhood, but learning who they are, and that's become my family, getting to know each other that way and relying on each other. You know, right now is a hard time with economics and things like that. So I share with my neighbors anything I have. And so family doesn't mean just biological. It's community with your church and those that are around you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sharing who you are. Mm-hmm.
I do too. And you're being one of those people that is easy to be in community with. Like you're being a good neighbor.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of things that we're called to do out of our service to the Lord. And it makes a difference in those lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think in this day and age, we can, with remote jobs and all of those things, we kind of isolate so much that we forget to, like, there's a neighbor in left and right of you, and what's going on in their
Those
life.
are real people.
And all of those that surround me in my neighborhood don't go to church. So this is where I'm trying to reach out and, you know, just show the love of Christ just in their needs. So,
I love that.
When the storms came through, I am very much secluded in my house most of the time when I get home, because I have kids, and that's just like we make dinner and then you do bedtime, and then I'm like picking up, and then by that time it's like 9 p.m. You know. But I do go on walks, so I have been getting to know my neighbors that way in different ways. I feel like we've been there since 2020, so 5 years. So I'm just now starting to get to know, I mean, like really feel like, hey, I know you people now.
Cute people.
You people. But I had an interesting situation the other day. So Joseph was out of town in Lubbock, and the storms came through. That really bad storm that just came through.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, but he was panicking and like trying to figure it out because he felt bad because he was out of town.
Yes.
And I had already talked to my neighbors like directly next door, which they're the best. And they love me a lot better than I love them. Like she's the type that knows everybody on a first name basis. Because I'll be like, oh, what's so and so doing, and she'll say his name, and I'm like, oh my
I
gosh,
don't
Beth,
even remember
you're
his
so much
name.
better at this than I am. So much better than I am at this. So I had already talked to them about going to their house and getting in the closet and all that, which I was like, oh wow, look at this. Like this feels like family.
Yes.
And then my husband had told my in-laws to come get us.
Oh.
So we like talked about it when he got home, and I was like, yeah, I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah.
But I had already talked to Beth, and like, these are our people. Like we can do this with them. And they invited us to come over. And so I just thought I had a moment of like, yeah, these are people that I really love and trust. And it's just
And they're right
special.
there
You have
next
to
to you.
invest in
There's
them.
something about
Yeah.
being, like you said, geographically with some, that is a different level. When something crazy happens, they're
Yes.
literally right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our neighbors are a nightmare. I'm just kidding.
It's family.
We live next door to family. That was a joke.
Kind of.
I'm gonna get
kind of a
canceled.
joke.
No, it's not. It is a
Yes.
total joke. Woo! But that's so sweet. I mean, I just love that when even before COVID, I feel like it's not common anymore to really know your neighbors.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's kind of a scary world. You just you
don't
don't know your
know.
neighbors, so
Yeah.
true.
you just have to kind of, as they say, read the room. You kind of visualize what they're doing in their yard and how they speak to each other, and so you just have to
Kind of put yourself out there.
Yeah.
But also be aware.
be cautious.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
too many
Be aware.
2020s where
Yeah,
they're like,
I'm not trying to be
my
the next
neighbor was a serial
2020
killer and
lady.
I didn't know.
Yeah, you may not
That's
want to go in their
pretty
house.
rare.
For their house.
That's really rare.
For the tornado and never came out.
Oh,
gosh.
goodness.
No.
Dark. Very dark.
We went dark. We did.
We did a little. Okay, so I
Last
guess
question.
we have a kind of our catch-all question. What else do you want people who are listening to know?
I thought about that, and then I wrote something, and I'm like, no. Well, I mean,
She's changing it.
Out the way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just things about me that I was just talking to Shirley about. I really didn't, growing up, I didn't have a mindset of a career that I really wanted to do. I wanted to teach, and I knew that, but was drawn away from that into computer science, which, if you know me, I am not a computer person at all. I was just, and so as it goes, 30 years later, I became a teacher. I mean, I taught in the end, and I loved that. But, so where was I going with that? So some of these things that just happened to fall in my lap, the great places I've worked, wasn't anything that I did. Pursued it, but like I was 19, I worked for a stock brokerage firm, and it was a great place to work. Then I moved to Virginia and worked in a larger stock brokerage firm in '88 when the market crashed. So I've had these tremendous experiences. I worked for the CIA. That was because my ex-husband worked for it. Yeah, and so
slip that right in.
I know you.
She's the neighbor to watch.
knows me. She
I got
says,
a file
on everybody. No. And then what a commercial real estate. I just had these great people and places and experiences that, I know God put me in all of that because I wouldn't have chosen it. And it was, I was just there. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And that also comes down to working in a church. I never thought I'd ever work in a church. And I've worked in a church previously. And a friend told me about the job position that was here. And I said, no, I don't think I'm going to work for another church. But I had another great job offer working down at Sundance Square down in Fort Worth. And, my prideful self says, oh, this is going to be a great job. It's, it's in a great area. There's going to be a lot of growth. I'm just going to get to know a lot of people, and more of a boaster to my, job just to my career. And then I thought, okay, I'm getting into my 50s. Do I really want to drive all the way down to... Anyway, me and God wrestled with that. And
Been there.
and it was so clear. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I need my home and community, and I want to work close in that. So I turned down the job, and then I heard about this job, and God just laid it all out and worked it all out, because I still wasn't so sure I was going to work for a church, but it was just boom, 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 boom. And meeting with Keith was very much the key. Keith Warren, if you don't know who he is, was a factor, and made it less scary. And it shouldn't be scary to work for a church, but it's just different.
It is.
It's a polite way to say
It is. It's
Very
just
diplomatic way to say it. Can be kind of a nightmare sometimes.
with love. And so, and Keith just made it easy. And again, I just felt very welcomed here when I stepped in the doors. On North Side.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about like women in the Bible, and one of the things that we notice over and over is an availability. Not that necessarily we're always prepared or qualified or feel ready for something, but that we're available. And when we make ourselves available, God uses us. And so it sounds like there's been lots of times where you've been like ready for what he has for you.
Yeah, I do feel that. I think a lot of people, may box themselves in. They're in their comfort zone. They don't want to get out of that. I've always, and it's probably part of it is moving around so much. I've always had the, you have to figure out ways to deal, with a new challenge. It's new challenges, and I seem to like that. Yeah. I like something, I'm going to try and figure it out. I'm going to do it. And
it's good for us sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
Even I kick and scream with change, but I told a friend who they're driving today to Kentucky. They're moving from here to Kentucky. And I told her, because they moved from the Pacific Northwest here, and now they're moving to Kentucky. And like, y'all are movers. Like, you're great with change. And she scoffed heartily. She was like, really? I'm terrible with change. And I thought, I know, but just some people do seem to have that spirit of like, okay, if something, what's next? Like, I think that can be so, like, God can use that in such a mighty way compared to, like, I was born in the Weatherford Hospital. So and here I am. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, I think, if God were to call Jeff and I away to the other side of the world, he would have to be like, knocking our heads off. Probably might be difficult for us to fathom that he would call us to that. Yeah. Not a challenge, Lord. So
it makes me think of when Paul talks about learning to be content.
Yes.
In all things. Those people that seem to be, they find ways to be content in whatever the situation is. That's a really special. I love his wording too, because he says, "In all things, I have learned to be content." It's like you don't just
didn't come natural.
You have to learn.
Yes.
Like, but those people that have learned that, they do tend to be a little more willing to step into whatever God throws their way, and find the beauty in it, find the best in it.
Yeah, we could all use a little more of that quality, I think.
Yeah, amen.
Well, I guess that's all. Thank you.
Thank you,
Oh,
Eren.
thank you.
So this is Eren Coleman.
Hi.
She sits in the main office. You've seen her.
I'm in the
And
corner.
now you have a little more details into who Eren is.
Yeah.
And if you call and she answers and says, "This is Eren," you'll
Yes.
know this is Eren.
Yes.
Come talk to me.
Amen.
I want to see who you are.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. I love that.
thank you so much.
Yes,
thank
thank
you
you
for
for
being here.
having me. I appreciate it. Yes.
And you slid in. We had someone scheduled this week and they were sick, so you slid in early too,
Yeah,
which
and
we
we
really
appreciate
appreciate. You didn't have to
Yeah.
do that, but that does make our lives easier. So
Thank you. Well, I
Thanks.
wanted to be here for sure.
yeah, we
Nice.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay, we'll catch y'all on the flippity flop. Didn't love that.
Didn't love it.
We will catch y'all in the next
Yes.
episode.
Yeah, that's right.
Happy
Enjoy your
summer.
summer drinks.
Yeah,
Yes,
get
enjoy
you
your summer.
get you an icy cold beverage.
Maybe not Twisted Flamingo.
No.
Unless you're in the mood for some ice cream.
Yeah, if you would like to keel over,
And sugar coma.
Sugar high. Don't get it for your kids either. That's a good
put a shot of espresso in here, and then you could go for days.
Yeah.
Sugar and espresso.
And then it will be over fully.
Sounds
so
miserable.
yeah, it's getting more interesting tasting as the ice starts to
go?
melt.
Oh.
Nice. Nice.
I made a choice, and now I have to live with it. All right.
Okay,
See you
well-
next time.
See y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye. I always wave. Why do I
How do you
wave?
Wait.